So we're on board the Ovation of the Seas. We're finally actually on the ship. And interestingly, you come on board on deck 5. And you see right there to the left, you're coming up on one of the stairwells. It's an interesting area to board the ship because on all of the other ships that we've been on that I can remember, let me put it that way, the area of the ship that they would have us come on, boarding and unboarding, like when you're important stuff, didn't seem to be like right next to one of the stairwells like that. And I don't know, it's just kind of an awkward place. I guess that's just the way they designed the ship. There were a couple of times where they would have us go down to, deck 2 to get off, and then sometimes deck 5. And so, they kind of switched it up a little bit. So it's a new layout for us. First time on the Ovation, so we're unfamiliar with anything, even though we'd done a little bit of research before coming on board, looking at like the deck plans of the ship and stuff. So right here, I'm trying to find the elevator because we're, of course, going to go to the Windjammer for lunch. And we went right by the elevators, and I accidentally took us back towards Jamie's kitchen and the Via area back here. So I get a little farther down here and realize we're going in the wrong direction. So we have to turn around and head back. Actually, the elevators are over there. Sorry. Yeah. What are we doing? We're going the wrong way? No, just relax. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, you need some socks. We'll get us some mittens. We'll get you some right now.
So right here, I'm going to call them out on something because I've never seen this before on any of the previous cruises that I can remember. This was right around 11 o'clock. They've obviously let people on the ship, but the Windjammer is not open. You see this line of people out here kind of waiting? And as we walk up, this one gentleman told us that he had heard that it was going to be 11:30. Now, shortly after that little part right there where I cut away, within like another couple of minutes, they opened it up. But that's the first time I ever remember coming off the elevator to the Windjammer as soon as you get on the ship, and the Windjammer's not already open and ready to go. So that was unusual. So anyway, we finally, of course, made it into the Windjammer. We're port side here. This is deck 14. Obviously in the back of the ship, which is where most of the Windjammers are. A couple of the ships have it in the forward, like on the Majesty of the Seas, for instance, the Windjammer's all the way to the forward. But on Ovation, just like with a lot of the other ships, it's towards the aft. So deck 14. Get a good look at the Celebrity Solstice, which is still in port. This is probably every bit of about 11:30 right here. You get a little bit of a look down there at the area where people get dropped off. And you see just kind of how small it is. Right here, we actually transition over to deck 15 to where you can kind of get a better look at the terminal itself and the area down there where they drop people off. And you see how narrow that is. So it's just, I don't know. That's one of those things that I would think they would want to try to come up with a better process to move that many people and 2 ships at the same time, on and off, but kind of is what it is, I guess. Interesting design on deck 15. This is the only deck of the ship where you're truly, kind of up on deck, quote unquote, where you can just walk around and really see everything. But on both sides of the ship, kind of in the middle, there's a section a couple of 100 feet long where they don't have the glass panels in the way, which is where we are right here. But then you'll see them in a minute start to come into play. And these glass panels, I guess there's an architectural reason why they put them up, but they kind of get in the way in terms of being able to take picture and video. So it's just one of those little things, like when you go on the Ovation, you'll just have to kind of work around them as best you can. And on the days when we were like at the Dawes Glacier and stuff like that, when there were a lot of people up on deck trying to look out and view all the scenery and everything, and of course everybody's got a camera, why not? It's you're there for the scenery. those glass panels were getting in the way because you have to kind of put your camera through the panel in order to get the picture of the video. So, you know, is what it is, I guess. They must have designed it that way for a reason. So here we are, deck 14. The North Star is going off of right above kind of deck 15. Up there you see the North Star bar. That gentleman right there at the top of the stairs, he's going from 14 up to 15. So we're making our way towards the Solarium area in the front. And one thing that was really interesting about this to me is as you're walking through the Solarium, or this is the pool deck area on deck 14. So as you're going forward on the port side, there's a smoking section that you have to walk through in order to get to the Solarium area from the pool deck. So if you really don't like cigarette smoke, you're going to want to make sure that you stay on the starboard side, because for some reason they gave the smokers a huge area on the pool deck on the port side right as you're going up towards the Solarium. And we're actually getting ready to walk through it. This was the very first time we've been on the ship, so we didn't even know that that's what it was. So we're walking through here, and all of a sudden I start to see like the cigarette ashtrays, huge, like 3 foot tall, like cigarette ashtrays. And then I start to smell it and realize we're walking through a smoking section. And I don't remember that on any previous ships. So we noticed over the course of the cruise that there are a lot of interesting, I'm going to call them interesting design choices with the Ovation in terms of where things are placed, the size of things, the operation of certain things. Just very interesting. Some good, some we prefer the Oasis class, because the last 3 cruises prior to this were on Oasis class ships, 2 on the Allure and 1 on the Oasis. So we got very, very comfortable with the Oasis class. So we found ourselves, me and the other 3 people in my group, we found out there's one of the ashtrays right there. See, so we're literally walking through a smoking section. It's kind of, because I don't smoke, so it just kind of bothers me a little bit to be around the smoke. But we found ourselves throughout the course of the cruise kind of comparing things that were on the Ovation to the things we're used to on the Oasis class. So if you've been on Oasis class ships, you may end up doing the same thing if you go on the Ovation for a cruise. And I'm going to assume that they're going to do the Ovation to Alaska in the summer for the next couple of years. So summer of 2020, they'll probably have the Ovation doing the Alaska cruises again. So we're in the covered pool deck. This is deck 14 forward, just behind the Solarium area. So this area has a nice little bar to it. One thing we definitely noticed about this with all the glass enclosure is when you get those really sunny days, it traps all that heat in there. Now, it's great if you're coming in here to go swimming, because obviously it's a nice, really comfortable environment. I think the pool is heated. This area was busy all throughout the cruise. You're going to see some of the other footage later on as we get to the videos, where this area, every time we come through here and we're recording video, there's people in here swimming. I mean, it's a very popular area. But if you walk through this area and you're fully dressed in like jeans and a polo or jeans and a t-shirt or something, during the day when that sun is trapping all that heat, it can get pretty hot. So here we are on starboard side here because we're pulled into port. So we're looking at Seattle, kind of taking a look. There's the downtown area. If you look way off in the distance, you can see Mount Rainier. You might be able to see it. When we're towards the back of the ship, you can see it a little bit better while we were still in port. But Mount Rainier is kind of way off in the background on the other side of the downtown area. So there's the Solarium Bistro right there, and the entrance to that is on the port side. And best way to think of the Solarium is it's kind of like a smaller version of the Windjammer. The food is excellent. You can sit inside the bistro and eat, or you can bring the food out and sit like out here in this outer area of the Solarium and eat out here. So it's really good. We noticed towards the end of the cruise that they put a couple things in our stateroom. They were advertising some special events in the Solarium Bistro, like a special dinner or something like that. We didn't end up going to it, but I noticed they were like, come join us in the Solarium Bistro for this event or whatever. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and change your notifications and the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video.